How's everybody doing? This is Hank back with another Two Birds and a Third short discussion. I know we alluded during the weekend on the weekend podcast that Jay Cutler was, I don't know if he's formally retiring from the NFL, but he is leaving to uh, go into a career for broadcasting at Fox for Fox NFL Sunday. I think he's going to be the commentator in the booth. I don't know who he's going to be next to. I think that's to be coordinated. But I think that it's kind of curious that he's going that route, and it's kind of unexpected to me. I guess you could say that when you see these analysts, because you have the commentator and then you have the former athlete, the former coach, what have you. And you look in college football, you always have, a former player who excelled at the college level. Now, I don't know if he's going to be going into the college level or if he's going to go into the NFL level. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really read up on all of that. But I would say he would be better suited for college because I believe he attended Vanderbilt, I believe, and he was selected in the first round of the 2006 NFL Draft to the Denver Broncos. And while he had a 10 or 11 year career, his one playoff appearance really is his crowning achievement. I mean, there were a few times where he's thrown for over 3,000, 4,000 yards, and I think the most amount of touchdowns he's ever scored was 27, but I think his best touchdown interception ratio, I think, was in 2008, or maybe it was 2015. He had 25 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, with over 4,000 yards, and then in 2015, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, or maybe 2014 with 28 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. With Jay Cutler, especially to begin his career, he did very well at the beginning of seasons, and then he just petered off. And of course, we all remember that in the NFC Championship game against the Packers, which the Chicago Bears were the highest seed hosting an NFC Championship game, let the Packers come in to Chicago, and it wasn't a rout, but Jay Cutler had an injury, whether that was a real injury or a fake injury. A lot of people can have their own opinion about what happened there. Regardless, what was it? Caleb Haney came in and finished off the game for the Chicago Bears. But you could see at just around that point in time, Jay Cutler's career really started to drop off. He just became an overrated quarterback at that point. He just started to lose a lot of confidence. And I've been saying in the podcast a few times, he reminds me of someone who went through their teenage phase, kind of like an emo phase. They're writing in their diary. They grow their hair out long to like cover up, one of their eyes and stuff like that. He became really emotional, and he just didn't seem like his head was really in the game for football, which, I think I'm glad that he kind of took himself out of the situation of football because his confidence was gone. His confidence was shot, and he played like that. He played like a guy who didn't have any confidence. Jay Cutler is a quarterback that had all the talent in the world, but when you match him up with Tony Romo, and both of those quarterbacks really started their starting career at the same point back in 2006, Jay Cutler was a first-round draft pick, and Tony Romo was an undrafted free agent. And you can see how both of their careers ended up. And I don't know if they're going to come back into the league. That could happen. That might not happen. But I think it's very curious that Jay Cutler has chosen this route because I don't think I've ever heard Jay Cutler speak, right? I've never heard like an inspirational speech from a Jay Cutler. With the Tony Romo, yes, Tony Romo's very soft-spoken, but Tony Romo also has a lot of knowledge about the game. And again, I have to look into whether Jay Cutler is going to be, a commentator for college football or NFL. But regardless, Fox is picking him up, and I think I think his talents would be more geared towards the college football scene than the professional football scene, because outside of 2 or 3 seasons, Jay Cutler really didn't see any success. He only saw the playoffs one time, and he's only won one playoff game. Whereas Tony Romo, yes, Tony Romo has won 2 playoff games, I believe, in his career, but he went to the playoffs multiple times in his career. I think 5 or 6 times Tony Romo went to the playoffs. But that is all I have. This is Two Birds and a Third, short discussion with Hank. Stay tuned, check the channel, and I will be back in the week with more content.